Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Meatball. And yours truly. What's going on, guys? Let's take a look at what this Reddit funding at 10 billion value is about, including the fact that you guys are here with us taking a look at some early morning price action of GME AMC and the crypto market taking a major dump, 10% down on Dogecoin. Yesterday, you might have noticed that Dogecoin was going all the way up to around 30 cents. Ethereum is down 4% and Bitcoin down 6%. Currently, reverse that. Bitcoin down 4%. We got Ethereum down 6%. Ethereum's right up hovering at that $3,000 mark. How's it going? Okay, Reddit Inc. is raising a new round of funding that will value the social media business at $10 billion. I seem to remember that Reddit was having a really hard time making any money at all. It represents a significant increase from 6 months ago. The new financing will bring about $700 million in the round led by Fidelity, says Reddit. The company's valuation was $6 billion in February. Okay, jeez. Major differences. Give me some water. If you just take a look at a stock like Apple, a stable stock, something that is supposed to be able to, survive a major pandemic and then come right back up roaring as if no economic hardships had ever happened. I was looking at Apple yesterday. Up 2% today. Not a bad little rip here. In fact, if you take it over a couple of hours, the last time we were up to 148 was 2 days ago. And that $150 level of resistance is one that Apple still hasn't contested since the 27th. Is that it? Yeah, the 27th of July. So take it into major context here. A small dip. This is the entire COVID dip right there. And stronger than it's ever been. So the thing about it, rebound wise, a lot of these tech stocks have been getting slammed. A couple of these tech stocks have been doing perfectly fine. I want to say good morning to the Moon Goon Platoon, Ivy Creek. We got Francis. We got Stevie J. We got Jose. Oh yeah, we got Palantir. Hold on, wait a second. And now I'm reading the chat here. Palantir up today. 14.5% is its high of the day. Currently, Palantir is at its high. What is that over the course of a couple of days? Let's go to the hourly chart. On the hourly. Oh, yeah. Wow, Palantir is absolutely kicking it right now. Let's see. Jim Cramer, even Jim shows up here as well. Best Buy is a buy. Wow, okay. Jimmy James. Why? Roblox, Palantir, Bumble, BBY, Sono. Okay, let's see if what Mr. Jimmy thinks about. Hell no.
Okay,
about
eBay,
Palantir.
By its own admission, had some weakness. I do believe you have the CEO of eBay coming on.
Yes,
that'll be valuable.
Jimmy, I know
because they said it was a slight miss.
Good morning, Kathy.
Now, there's the issue here is promoted listing volumes. They're saying, listen, don't worry about it, we made money, but the volumes are down, and down significantly, I think. When it comes to Bumble,
well, they had tough comparisons at eBay, and the stock is actually up. But they did. You're right. I mean, it was a year ago, everybody was at home,
right,
buying stuff
well,
online.
That's the problem with a lot of these is that we look at. I have all of these companies on all the time, but what's an opening story is Bumble, and I look forward to speaking to them because they have a premium tier that's doing incredibly well. It's down.
What's up, Katie Claus, Katherine Johnson?
Yeah. Okay, because that was a good quarter. I'm sorry, I'm not going to back.
Planet Fitness.
Sonos. If Sonos is down, that's the end. Okay, because Sonos' quarter was by far the best of the night, and thank heavens, at least it's up $3. I love that quarter. Palantir, big revenue boost. That's an ape stock.
Yes, they don't tell you much though.
Look, he's talking about apes again. It's like old man points at zoo every day with Jim Cramer here. Points at apes and says, "Oh, look, that one's an ape stock." Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's one page.
Well, it's a black box, David. We don't know what they're in.
I actually went to look for the filing, but it hadn't been filed yet. So all you're going to deal with on Palantir is one page.
I don't know how much.
It gives you some numbers.
Well, there's a big
And it gives
handout.
you an outlook.
Go look at the handout's very good.
Oh, I didn't see the handout. Okay, there you go.
I have the hand.
This is back when Palantir was up about 9% earlier today. Now it's currently up right around that 15%, double what you see here.
I'll give it to you during the break.
Look at him. He's always more prepared than I am.
Palantir, with this move today, is going to go back into the black for the year.
Well, that's important because this is a stock that represented a whole new class of companies that were, I'll call them, this was like
What's up, Titans? Husky Life?
Remember, it was a direct listing, so they didn't actually
Luis
raise
Ceballos.
capital through the sale of the stock, but they obviously had a lot of selling shareholders.
I think that
Because it had been a private company for, 20 years? I mean, a very long period of time.
You know,
that it sat in private hands.
a direct listing that reports next week that I'm very interested in is Roblox. I think that this could be, that last quarter was disappointing. I say that this could be a quarter that might work for them. Stock was up 6 crazily last week.
Keep
but
talking about
that's,
Roblox.
One to watch. That's August 16th.
Wow, so look at
Roblox
June.
is my pick in the CNBC.
$100
contest.
at June.
Really?
Yeah, that was my pick.
That was his
I'm
pick.
nicely-
That was your pick? Wouldn't like the draft? That draft?
Yeah, the draft. What'd you pick?
Well, I got the 10Q from Palantir. It's out.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
There is, with Sonos comes a move to buy Best Buy.
Okay.
This is again.
What's up, Zero the
AZEK,
Guitar
by the
Hero?
way. These are all things that make it so that your house is nicer. AZEK with up $2.80, up to $7.49. I use AZEK my house after doing wood deck 3 straight times. I decided to go to theirs.
Where's
That's
Best Buy
just
at
to
right
say
now?
He's done a fantastic job. He's out of 3M. So you've got that remodel trade is back on. Okay, and I think that's important because home is where the money is.
Well, it doesn't hurt that lumber prices are now lower than they were on election day.
Well,
AMC
that market definitely caught
hitting
up.
the
I
red.
think that Lennar is an unbelievably good stock to own here.
Rejected
I
by
think that Toll
31.64.
Brothers- I typically do not recommend the housing stocks at this point in the cycle, but Toll Brothers is a really interesting place.
That was your daily dose of Jim. We were reading the Reddit raising valuation right now. So this could be the hot news you guys are looking for. AMC hitting the top of a 31.64 resistance and now heading on its way down. Let me turn on some lights for you guys.
Sure.
Okay, there we go. Nice little pretty lights out there. Here it is. If the deal was completed in full, it would bring Reddit's full total fundraising to the year for $1 billion. The website, which hosts message boards, let's see how to describe Reddit, on a variety of interests and lets users vote on the post they like, saw a surge of interest this year after a forum on the site. WallStreetBets jolted the stock market. The trading frenzy whipsawed the prices of GameStop, AMC, and silver. Wow, silver too. Really gonna put up silver. I'm gonna turn off the sun real quick. What's going on, Ducks? Throw some ducks in the chat if you're coming over. You know what it is. Reddit hires its first CFO in March. The company generated advertising revenue about $100 million for the first time in the second quarter, nearly triple what it was a year ago. Reddit said in its statement, it's now seeking to push deeper into audio and video, where ad rates tend to command a premium. YouTube. What's going on? Motorcycle puppy still holding its price and lower. Oh, I love that motorcycle puppy. I do. Love that motorcycle puppy. Let's take a look at the data of the day. Let's take a look at the options chain. Let's take a look at Ortex. Good morning, Guillermo, Julie, Bob, Shining Fox, of course. We got Joji. Joji, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that Tuesday I saw a very important video. And now I can't stop seeing it. I even noticed that the Cleveland show did a parody of it 11 years ago. So that means that this joke is an old one, and I have no excuse. All right, let's take a look at this Ortex here. Let me sign in there. Sign in. AMC's options chain loading right here. It's going up Jerry Beans. Short interest rises another 4.79. Is this AMC's short exchange data was just updated 19.2%? Whoa! Hold on, let me pull up the real FINRA data. This is gonna change the title of this video. Seriously. How's it going here? 85.85 million short interest as of the last. Okay. Hold on a second. Give me a chance to think about this. Right now, Ortex is reporting on nearly 100 mil short interest. Last time FINRA had anything to say about it, it was 85.85 million. But which one's the truth? Oh man. Either way, this is gonna change. Exploding shorts. Hey, now that you guys are here, would you mind doing a quick thing where we make the like counter make sense? The number of people in here to the number of likes really does support the show and changes the math so that more people show up and hang out, learn the new data. 19.2%. Let's get that word out there. Why Estudiante, as always, it's pretty clear that the Jim Cramers of the world said something ape stock, Palantir, blah blah blah, and then they really didn't talk about it. They talked briefly about their financial documents on Palantir. If I go over here, it says hot stock Palantir Technologies gets hotter after Q2 earnings. So a good earnings follows good price action, unless your name is AMC, in which case AMC had a spectacular earnings. In fact, now that price action seems a little bit more bullish, just pushed past that VWAP here, now trending on right above it. Felix says, what is that on the left? That is the short interest from Ortex. You can find it yourself in the description down below. That bottom number is most important, 19.2%. Haven't seen 100 million SI since June. Have I seen 20% in July? It was really mostly in June. Yeah, Juice's Ghost says 19.2% is where we were last time we gapped up to 77. That's right. Don't forget. AMC and GameStop, the amazing exploding short interest. That's currently what we're seeing right here. The incredible, the sensational, exploding short interest. Oh, what's the stock on the left? This is Palantir. Palantir is up 15% last time we checked. Yep, still up 15%. Today from a killer Q2 earnings as well. Oh man. Tesla is ripping, says Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever. Obviously with a name like Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever. You know it. I did play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid. Tesla exploding. Up to 0.2%. In fact, it stayed around that 720s for the last few days. 726 in the beginning of August. Yeah, I wouldn't consider this exploding. Palantir going nuts. Yo, look at that. Palantir up 15%. Jeez. Like nobody's business. shorts continue to explode. Juices goes, we need that FOMO public interest again in the next couple of weeks, and the options chain action. Here we go. Okay, this is the FINRA numbers right here. And I see today's options. AMC options, let me see them. Francisco says, what does having a high short interest mean? Means that there's a significant amount of shorts that have yet to be returned. And somewhere in the neighborhood of 85 million to 100 million shares sold short. Divide that on top of a denominator of the total float. And that's the short percent of free float. Okay, options chain not loading right now. Meatball, you want to come back up? Go. Go ahead. Want water? Hang there. Right there. He doesn't want water. Mo Money was in the movie Disturbia in 2011. I actually haven't seen that movie. But I know about the song. Da da dee da 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 dee da da. Eric Margarita says legalize marinara. Of course. About time. These pasta fascists. No, I'm just kidding. Strong buy on Algo, says Christopher. Oh yeah, Lux Algo. This is important, guys. That's pinned in your chat right now. 20% off. Looking for some buy signals here. And Lux makes it easy. What's up, Steve Kerr? Let's see if GME short interest has gone crazy. Okay, you've gone outside. You've had breakfast. You've had water. Anything else you need? Come on. Up. Go. Joji, I did watch. I did. I finally did. I not only watched the Montgomery Flea Market, I watched the Cleveland parody of it from 11 years ago. That just proves how old that meme is. Okay, is this loaded yet? There we go. My life is loading a little slower. I'm gonna go out again. I'm gonna go out again. Yeah, I'm gonna go out again. He's so ready to do something. I wonder what it is. He's so prepared. Does he? Do you want extra breakfast? I can't say no to that face. Okay, let's take a look at the buy signal. We just had someone track it on the minute chart. AMC is getting a buy as of about 5 minutes ago. Yeah, 8:09, right around 5 minutes ago, we got that strong buy signal down below. That's a good one. That's not bad. Let's put this back to GME real quick. Balance here. We'll keep an eye on it, although I'm likely assuming this is going to be a little overbought, at least for this part of the day. GameStop looking okay. AMC looking like a potential bounce off of the VWAP here, if not the volume, the simple moving average right there. Oh, Meatball Playdate with Maggie and Chloe? Heck yeah. Let's see. Amendra says Palantir is your biggest holding. Dang, okay. Mike, taxation is theft, says, sorry if there has been covered, but how is utilization not higher today with all the other numbers going up? I was expecting 96, 97% utilization today. Thank you, sir. So I'm not sure, because it says short interest delta is about 5%, right? I'm not sure if this is entirely captured in 19.2%, especially since 5% up from 16% is not 19. Utilization is around a 2% change. So the 93.92 right now. It could be that there's clearing like logistics, but overall I think it could just be that part of the data is still waiting to update. Hold on, let me just make sure this gets up here. There we go. I guess we won't know until a little later. The furniture. Why would you say that? Let's make Canada great again. Says Palantir is my largest holding. 2 4-figure worth of shares, 5-figure position. Dang. Well, getting to Palantir in a orderly fashion could be very profitable. Seeing as how Palantir, people have been waiting on Palantir for like the next Tesla for a long time. Gary Gensler, new tweet. Okay, I do have to see that. Curse you, Gensler. I need to see all of your tweets. Ooh, SEC, Twitter. Gary Gensler. But who is he? AMC has now bounced off of that VWAP. Like to see it. Gary Gensler likes running, hiking, and shoes? What is the last one? Father of 3. Running, hiking, and shoes. Maybe both of these represent hiking, but he put the mountain in front of the shoe. Okay, what does he say? It's never a good idea to invest in something just because someone famous says it's a good idea. Uh-oh. Seems like Elon's gonna get it now. Coffee from a dragon in the morning. Heck yeah. Thanks, Hector. Andrew, the shelf looks unstable and leaning. Okay, let me just lean my camera back in the right direction. There we go. See, it was an illusion. An optical illusion this whole time. Now it's leaning the other way. Celebrity involvement with SPACs. Investor alert. Ooh. Celebrities from movie stars to professional athletes can be found on TV, radio, and social media endorsing a wide variety of products and services. Sometimes they are even involved in investment opportunities with SPACs. These celebrities may even be well-known professional investors. Oh, Elon is getting his money's worth right now. Holy moly. Okay. However, celebrity involvement in a SPAC does not mean that the investment in a particular is generally appropriate for all investors. Celebrities, like anyone else, can be lured into participating in risky investment or may better be able to sustain risk of loss. I think that's really important, is that Elon has liquidity that you do not. Okay. Taxation is theft. It says the SEC shouldn't ignore their own rules just because a hedge fund donates to their boss. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Yeah, Adam Aaron has implied mother of all short squeezes in a subtle way a couple of times. It's true, it's true. The man, the myth, the legend coffee maker. What is a celebrity? It's someone who can be fooled by SPACs, apparently. SPACs have become a popular vehicle for transitioning a private company into a publicly traded one. SPAC is a blank check company with no operations that offers securities for cash through an IPO. SPACs then have a specified period of time, typically 2 years, to identify and merge with a private operating company. This business combination is often used as an alternative means to taking the acquired company public rather than going through a traditional IPO. Yep, there it is. So, reverse IPOs or SPACs could very simply be boiled down to this is the year of the SPAC. You haven't seen so many rolled out in such a short amount of time. And now, pretty sure Reddit's not going to be a SPAC, right? But Reddit trying to make a little extra money right now. Good sign that that is going to be something on the market soon. $1 billion of fundraising this year alone. $10 billion valuation. Crazy. Okay. I don't think I ever got to read this. Spend your Bitcoins at the GameStop in the AMC. He said that learning about crypto while serving as a stint on the board of Centricus Acquisition, a SPAC set up by one of his closest friends, more than 20 years. Centricus acquired a firm called Arkit, which Aaron said is the cutting edge of quantum encryption and blockchain technology. I write about finance, like for my job. This is a Bloomberg article, remember this, okay? The chief executive officer of the main meme stock these days, a guy known as the retail investor fan base as Silverback, learned about Bitcoin while serving on the board of a SPAC and now plans to accept it for movies and popcorn. Those are all words. I just typed them. I sure did. I read about finance. Like if you run a meme stock company, you probably have to announce earnings 4 times a year. And then you will probably want to do an earnings call. If you do a normal earnings call with a normal sell side stock analyst, they will ask you questions like, when will you stop losing money? And it will be boring and kind of a bummer, and they will not leave the call in love with you. In particular, your answer to the question, when will you stop losing money, will not be so good that the analyst will then recommend your stock. AMC loses money and its stock goes up 1,400% this year, purely on valuation. No analyst is going to give that a buy recommendation. On the other hand, if it's divorced from fundamentals, if you run a company and you do an earnings call where you take questions from your enthusiastic individual shareholders, one guy, and he was an analyst anyway, and he asked 2 questions. I don't even think the 2 questions were very good. The first question was like, what do you think about the information you just answered earlier today? AMC is now up to 2% up on the day. Rockets, you can get a little tiny rocket in the chat. A little tiny rocket, a little boom boom candle, please. 3230 had given AMC trouble before. Now it is coming off of this VWAP bounce tightly on the heels of the simple moving average. What's up, Bruce LaCoppola? What's up, John Stacy? Gabe Plankton, where's the meat? Smoking or joking? Alright, so the questions will be insane. They weren't. They were very, they were asked by one guy and it was very kind of meh. Your answers will be insane. 2 answers will be insane. The answers are pretty muted as well. The shareholders will love it. And the stock will go up. Yeah, all of that happened. AMC did its earnings call using a platform that let individual shareholders submit questions, and the CFO read the questions and Aaron answered them. Here's some Bloomberg's transcript. Oh, they're talking about the pre-read questions. They were kind of crazy. And that was great. Oh, man. So, Sean D. Goodman, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. Great, thanks. Adam, the next question is from David. The question is, will AMC consider partnering with GameStop to offer more theater experiences via local and national gaming competitions? As I said in my remarks just a few minutes ago, I don't even think I can count the number of times people have asked me if we would partner with GameStop. We're certainly willing to do so. It seems to me it's one of those interesting ideas that float in from our individual investors, and we're happy to reach out to GameStop and see if they have any interest. Reach out to GameStop. Yes, right. Put the GameStop in the AMC, drive there in a Tesla that you rented at the Hertz to pay for your tickets with Dogecoin, cram the whole thing in a rocket ship, and send it to Mars. I already said SPAC. This is how finance works now. I think this is a great article because even though there's very tongue-in-cheek, even though it ends up being like there's FUD inherent, he's not really like saying it out loud. Maybe later in this article, there's like a mainstream bias that says this is not the way the world works, and yet it certainly is going to be looked upon as this is the turning point of how financial systems work. It's the year of the retail investors for a reason. Okay, it's the year where retail investors have spent the most money and had the greatest amount of participation. Right? That's in your lifetime. Think about that. You're forgetting to pause between your words. I'm pausing as much as I can. Can't pause too much. Gotta give some respect on the silverback here. Oh man. Yo, Adrian! Anyway, this is how finance works now. The goal is to say many meme trade buzzwords as possible. It makes the stocks go up. That's why you do a call like this. I should say that some questions are insane. Actually, most of them are quite good in a refreshing way. On regular earnings call, analysts tend to ask questions like, can you break down the drivers of gross margins or whatever? Sort of zoomed in questions about financial modeling. They follow the company for their job. They already have a basic sense of how the business operates. What they want to refine their model is to better predict future earnings so that their buy-side clients will be impressed by their accuracy. On a retail-driven earnings call for a movie theater company, you get broad, practical questions about how the theater business works, and the results are accessible and informative. So questions including, how is AMC preparing for the possible large-scale COVID surge? Or how does AMC plan to combat date releases of movies on streaming platforms and theaters? Or this one? Okay, here, let me try Sean again. The next question is from Ryan. The question is, would AMC ever consider re-establishing drive-in theaters? With the current state of the world, it would bring a lot of revenue with a little worry for people trying to social distance. Ryan, that's a great question. And the reason I say it's a great question is I asked that same question last July, and we went through an exhaustive analysis of drive-in theaters. And honestly, we came to the conclusion that they're a bad economic idea. It sounds appealing, actually, to stay in your car, but there are two problems. Go into a parking lot and look at how much asphalt is needed to put a lot of cars in a lot. The viewing experience at a drive-in theater is not necessarily great because many people are quite far from the screen. Additionally, drive-in theaters are very seasonal. They're not popular in the winter in colder locations in the United States, and the summer in much of the United States. It doesn't get dark before 8 or 9 o'clock p.m. I remember how logistic this answer was. It doesn't get dark before 8 or 9 o'clock p.m., which means that you really can only use the drive-in screen for one showtime at night. The economics aren't there. It's unlikely that we would go forward. It actually sounds like a great idea, but it actually doesn't. It sounds like a good idea, but it actually isn't. Great. Mark Baptiste says, good morning, Andrew. How do I use these fully fools when I hand in my resignation? You got the job? Congrats, man. I remember you in the interviews. Okay. That's pretty good. Jake says pretty good impressions. I like that. I like it. The Unknown 101 AMC's short interest is exploding. We were looking at the data before. Hold on. These are the SPACs information. Here it is. 19.2%. That is 15 million more short interest in the last few days. So short interest on the exchange is supposed to be reported sometime this week. I thought it was already reported. So in that sense, short interest, it has now substantially increased from what we were measuring just a few days ago. Okay. I really wanted to hear the CFO say, Master Bruce has a question. Oh, but we can make fun of them. We can make fun of colonists. Just kidding. We have a drive-through with 3 screens. They play 2 movies. That's right. That's why the flea market shares the same space as an overflow for the fairgrounds. Hey, Michael. I understood that reference. I live here. So now I know about the economics of drive-in theaters, which would not have happened on a normal earnings call, but still, was there a good dose of insanity? The GameStop question was somehow asked twice, and here is the second one. Oh, here's the most important question. Sean D. Goodman, Executive Vice President and CFO. Aaron asks, I promise, not a sarcastic question, but can you guys make the AMC mascot officially a gorilla? Well, Adam Aaron says, AMC has been around for 100 years. We don't actually have a mascot. It's an interesting question. I don't know. I know why you ask it. I think we're probably going to go without a mascot, but I will tell you that if there is a tremendous amount of branding work going on at AMC right now, I said a few minutes ago that we intend to be the best, strongest market around. Watch what we're doing with our marketing programs over the coming weeks and months and years. I think you'll be pleased when you see AMC leading the way yet again. Okay, what's up, Angelina? How's it going? Joji says, I like the idea of AMC partnering with Netflix and streaming services to bring Netflix or other originals to the big screen. Honestly, there's some pretty good... I would have watched Vivo in theaters. Have you guys watched that Lin-Manuel Miranda as a monkey? I don't think you would be disappointed. You have kids, otherwise you are a kid, otherwise you like Hamilton, like someone over there. With the sign program in Hamilton in the back. Yeah, I liked it a lot. And I would have liked to watch it in an AMC theater. At the end, they took one question from a Wall Street analyst and it went like this. How did he sound? He said, wanted to ask about some of the metrics you were talking about with respect to industry admission revenue. Adam, you talked about first quarter 13% of 2 years ago, and now we're up to 45% of 2 years ago. So maybe just kind of a broad question on how, if you have an updated view on where this could get to, either it's 2022 or 2023, what's changed in your crystal ball? Is it 80%, 90%? Can we get back to peak levels as you put everything in your blender? Thanks. Yeah, I don't know. Less fun than the Gorilla one. The stock was up 1 billion% after this call. No, I'm kidding, but as of 10:15%, it's about 10:15 a.m. today, it's about 6%. Also, earnings were good. Yeah, they were. Here's a very broad overview. AMC posted a narrower quarterly loss, beating analysts' estimates with results that nonetheless underscore the movie theater's struggle to draw fans back to cinemas and compete with streaming options at home. The world's largest theater chain, struggling under $5.5 billion in corporate borrowings, said Monday its loss shrank to 71 cents a share, excluding some items better than the 94-cent loss analysts were predicting. That's a huge beat, by the way. Like, this is not small in the normal sense. Revenue soared to about $444.7 million from virtually nothing a year ago and was better than the $382.3 million that Wall Street expected. This is double beat. These are two strong beats that Adam Aaron turned up. So he turned up the beat. We're well ahead of our own and consensus third-party expectations, Adam Aaron said. In short, we crushed it. He said it on the call. Hashtag we crushed it. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. And by the way, AMC used Say Technologies to let their shareholders ask questions. Here's some news from yesterday. Robinhood just bought Say Technologies for $140 million, all cash. Well, actually, they agreed to buy it. They agreed to buy something for all cash. So, makes sense. Oh, wait, there's some more. There's more. Bloomberg articles are an absolute trip. Jezebel says our drive-in is on the same property as our water park and both operate seasonally, so that's about one of the few ways I see it working. Don't you want an AMC water park all time, any time of the year? Let's see. Black Zeus says, good morning, Andrew. Remember, the last blast off was about short interest above 19%. Utilization was right around 100%. We're getting closer to the price movement upward. Patience. That's what I should put as the title. AMC exploding shorts. Up 19%. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of short interest, if I say so myself. Jessa, says Angelina. Hey there, at Krimmer. Aw, Krimmer, Jessa, you guys, and Angelina, you guys are friendship goals. Wow, this article was a absolute roller coaster so far. It's been up, it's been down. It's been moving all around. With their hands in the air. Essential Hard Workers says NSCC 005 just approved an amendment approved on an accelerated basis. See, they really jamming through these at one point crucial DTCC guideline changes. These regulations were changing for you and me. really for the rich people, but downstream it could also help you and me. That's the sad reality. E plus 35 is some DD that we've done many times in the past. So just take a look. All right, here's a scam. You start or gain control of a tiny company with publicly traded stock. Company doesn't do much. Its stock trades for a few pennies a share at most. You own most of the shares. You make yourself or your friend the CEO of the company, and you have the company put out a bunch of press releases saying, we found a cure for cancer, or we're pivoting to crypto, or whatever. Maybe you and your friends buy some more shares to make the stock go up. People notice the press releases and the stock going up, and they start buying the stock and it goes up more. You sell your stock as they buy it. You have taken the stock of a worthless company, briefly tricked people into thinking it's valuable, and then dumped the stock on them. So that is a pump and dump. The general form of scam is very popular and apparently lucrative. So of course, there are rules to prevent it. For one thing, it's illegal and you will go to prison. Though that is only the very last line of defense and not everyone gets caught. There are other defenses. For instance, in the US, if you control a company, including just by owning a lot of the stock, there are restrictions on your ability to sell it, even if you aren't doing a scam. I mean, if you own 50% of a penny stock, you can't dump all your shares anonymously in the stock market in a week. Your stock is restricted, and generally speaking, you need to register your sales of restricted stock, file a prospectus with the Securities and Exchange Commission with Gary G himself, disclose that you're selling, etc. One purpose of these rules is to make sure that the company discloses all relevant information about itself to people who might buy the stock, but another purpose is just a flag to everyone that you, the big shareholder, are selling. That's odd, they might think. This company just put out a press release saying that they cured cancer, and the CEO is selling all of her stock. Perhaps something is amiss, and then they don't buy it. Of course, you're doing a scam anyway. You might decide to ignore these rules, sell your stock without filing a registration statement. Why not? But there are further defenses. Companies hire transfer agents to keep track of their stock ownership, and the transfer agent, generally a reputable independent company, will check whether the stock is restricted and not let you sell it freely if it is. Brokerage firms are going to ask questions and do checks. If you're the CEO and 50% shareholder of a company, they won't let you just dump your stock into the market. The intermediaries in the financial system are supposed to prevent this scam. Hope you guys understand what restricted stock is now. Oftentimes part of a like a salary compensation with especially with Silicon Valley. So that is what a lot of these C-suite level execs get a majority of their salaries in. A major proportion of it is going to be restricted stock. And the important part of that is Adam Aaron's promise that he has not sold any AMC stock for, I think he said like 5-ish years. And he's planning on dumping all of his stock, or at least like a good portion of it, without disrespecting his own like rule that it needs to be 8 times his salary, the amount of stock he needs to hold himself. The rest he's going to put in a trust, which he doesn't have any right, he doesn't have the ability to say sell or not. So I think that's him trying to prevent all of any of this. He's trying to be bulletproof, any of these allegations from coming out, which is very smart of him. Okay, so if you're determined to do the scam, you might have to do a subsidiary scam and trick the intermediaries into thinking that you don't own your stock or you don't control the company. Instead of you owning 50% of the stock, pretend that 12 apparently unconnected people own 4% or so. They sell the stock and you get the money, that sort of thing. And while there is a system of regulated legal intermediaries, transfer agents, legitimate brokers who facilitate stock sales and who are supposed to be on guard against scammers, there is another system of illegal intermediaries who help people do exactly this scam. So you guys are learning a thing or two about how the rich get richer. When are we going to do a free Andrew Blitz? Be prepared at any time, Sitting Bull. If I get taken down, you and your connection to this channel is going to have to be on Twitter and Instagram at Andrew Mo Money. So I hope you guys know that we're trying to go for milestones. We're trying to go for 10,000 followers on Instagram, 20,000 on Twitter. Would be really cool if you guys are part of that. 120,000 subscribers on YouTube would also not be too shabby. What's the new resistance? All the way up here at 3307. I don't think that's going to be much of a question for later today. Price action starting to cool down. GameStop has made it green on the day. Congrats. Dogecoin recovered a little bit of its dip. In fact, most of the crypto market is starting to reel forward after reeling back most of this morning. Ben Unicorn says fire away. Ricochet. Abraham Lincoln. Love it. Here are some SEC enforcement actions and related criminal charges against some people accused in running one of those intermediaries. Here it is. SEC announced an emergency action charging 9 individuals, including a public company chairman, for their participation of a long-running fraudulent scheme that collectively generated hundreds of millions of dollars from unlawful stock sales and caused significant harm to retail investors. So pump and dumps are not legal. There's Canadian resident Ji Ying Yvonne Gassarge. What in the name of random letters in a row? Ji Ying Yvonne Gassarge and Courtney Kellen. No typos. There are no typos in this article. Enabled control persons of microcap companies whose stock was publicly traded in the U.S. securities markets to conceal their ownership and control of huge amounts of penny stock. Okay. The SEC's complaint is delightful because the way this business allegedly works is not like a couple of guys in the room doing a scam. This is a big business of facilitating other people's scams, so it has to be a certain amount of advertising and branding and customer service. And oh boy, does it. Oh, Sharp used the codename Bond, like James Bond. He said, among other things, Sharp cultivated relationships with Sharp Group's clients, that is, individuals seeking fraudulently to sell stock in a market. Wow, this is some real actual movie stuff. People would have to seek him out in order to like do these restricted sale like dumps of a penny stock. That's insanity. Lorenzo says, when Adam Aaron is on your side. What's going on, Silicon Alley? Good to see you. Oh man. Explain derivatives. I can do pharmacokinetics, calculus for pharma. Oh, that's cool, Angelina. Wow, I want to learn about what you do. During the period of the scheme detailed herein, Sharp described in a communication to a client the following about the Sharp Group services. The service provided is comprehensive. It is not limited to trading. It includes payments. Okay, that's not a typo though. That's the only typo with a sick after it. Loans, private placements, and keeping clients out of jail. Emphasis added. Right. See, if you do the legal trading, you can go to Robinhood or whatever. If you want to do crime trading, you will need more full service brokers. One of the businesses includes keeping you out of jail. Can you believe it? I want to return this. Excuse me, I'm not satisfied with my service. It turns out that I am in jail. I would like a full refund, or at least a voucher. That reminds me of the car warranty call. Yeah, that was a very interesting scam as well. I don't think this is quite the same scam. I'm a crooner. Andrew Mo Capella. That's sweet. Oh, you guys. Okay, anyway. If you guys want to do... Okay, anyway. What was it? Sharp oversees the creation and deployment of various front companies were served as nominee. Shareholders used to disguise as client stock ownership. Honestly, I'm not sure where this is going. I was afraid of where this is going, and now it's just detailing this pump and dump scam that... Well, it's not a pump and dump one scam. It's a criminal organization of scammers. Again, the basic idea in this AMC article, for some reason, the basic idea is if you run a penny stock company and own a bunch of its stock and go to a brokerage to sell the stock, the brokerage will stop you. But if you get a dozen random people to open brokerage accounts saying that they own some of your stock, the broker might let you sell. To do this, you need a dozen random people to lend their names, passports, and signatures to a crime, and you might have a hard time finding them, but it's no problem for Bond. That is the business that he's in. Sweet. This story is just getting more juicier and juicier. I wonder where it's going. 800-pound Abe, that's great. Victor C, I just made a whole video about Lux Algo. You do have to click it inside your libraries or whatever it's called. So just follow the video tutorial and let me know, because it's the first video on the channel. That's not this live stream. Anderson Jiang, wouldn't that be the case? Wouldn't that be fun? I'm here for the morning. Couple of hours each morning. That's what we're working on. Okay, Sharp also hired and directed individuals who created and administered the Sharp Group's accounting system, which Sharp called Q. Don't forget, he's going with this whole LARPing idea of James Bond LARPing. Given the extensive efforts by the Sharp Group and its clients to conceal and obscure the actual ownership, this is like an expose. A control of the stock they were surreptitiously selling. The Q system was essential in keeping track of the amounts of stock to be sold and the total proceeds being collected for each deal Sharp's clients ran. It's kind of like you run like a quirky company in Silicon Valley, except that it's crime. But you have to name your products like quirky little code names like Q. The Sharp Group has relied on the Q system to calculate the commissions and fees it collected for facilitating its clients' illegal stock sales. I cannot resist people who do crimes, run the crimes like legitimate business, and also play act at being spies. Just an endlessly charming combination. But here is the best part of this case. Hope you guys have learned something about how crime works and how crime is discovered. AMC is coming up on the simple moving average, on its way up to the 3220s. It is exactly how the rich people stay rich. It is 100% how people make money off of the people who want to get into the stock market for the first time, falls for a penny stock exactly like this, gets pumped and dumped, gets pumped, gets dumped, feels like the entire market's the same gambling problem, then does not have generational wealth. That destroys the trust of a person in a market and therefore ruins their chance of finding that financial freedom for their entire family. That is awful. That is the crime itself, is disconnecting, disillusioning, however you do it, the retail investor, person who just wants to change their financial situation, divorce them from their trust. I thought that interview was bullish. Bullish AF Young. 2002 says Sharp wrote a fictionalized book about securities fraud and money laundering in which he described illegal conduct that parallels Sharp Group's business model. Oh, that's fun. He was even dropping clues as if there was a superhero, like a vigilante, that would be able to be like, he's a mob boss. Eventually, the client took greater positions in the stocks, sharing the take with fewer partners. Somebody. This meant that he had to disguise his shareholdings in order to avoid securities disclosure requirements and trading restrictions. Offshore companies were ideal for his purpose. They came from the world with nominee directors and were still subject to his control, the perfect situation for his masterly stock manipulations. Sitting Bull, I don't watch his vids, but yeah, it's their job. Long whales are the same as short whales. They're just trying to make money. Imagine being an SEC lawyer assigned to read Footloose, Charlie Smith's Offshore Chronicles, to prepare for this one. Or do you think the SEC lawyer was reading Footloose, Charlie Smith's Offshore Chronicles for pleasure and thought, hey, this fictional account sounds awfully realistic? I called it. I wrote this article. I should have. Is this still talking about AMC? How long is this? Jerome Powell. This is just some weird after credits of stuff. That's how I'm going to start writing these videos. It's going to be about AMC and GME, and then it's going to be about random stuff. Lactose2 says, public.com. Okay. Both restricted buying in January and use Apex clearing. Why are they mother of all short squeezes safe? I don't know about public yet. Let me check. I will look into public. Let me learn. That's really not so bad, actually. This is good coffee. Can we get a 33 plus, please? Can we get a 33 plus, please? Okay, here we go. Anna Harvey says, how much longer can the shorts drag this out until they have to cover? And if they know that they're losing, then why do they continue to play this game? They've played this game for about half a year. Absolute insanity. And at the end of the day, it turns out being how much can a game of chicken last? The answer might surprise you. Huh? Okay, let me finish this. This is super fun. Because they're arrogant, because of pure greed, all of these are making a lot of sense. That's the truth, Ruth. There we go. Okay, so that's done. Let me reach out to public and see if there is there's more information that they can provide us. Maybe an interview. That'd be cool. Umbayano Nos states, hey Andrew, is there any timeline where shorts have to be covered if they're naked? Yes. If not, though. Okay. Rico Suave. Quick question. When shorting hedge funds short a stock, do they pay interest on shares at the price they short it? Or they pay interest at the current price of said stock? It's at the short. That's why short interest at the short is so important. Amazing, absolutely amazing how stupid they are for loans on non-existent shares. His access maintenance 200. Very, very true. Okay. What's Ortex shorts data? Has it been covered earlier? Yeah, Chris, we have 19% short now. Substantially different than even a couple of days ago. Very, very different looking short structure for AMC. Nope, you're welcome, Umbayana. Catch Roses, if they sell fake shares and someone will own it, then they have to buy that back. It's out of their hands and people who created this problem. There you go. That's an important fact to keep track of. Tyler Colin, I got you. Rod says he's pushing the hood. Really? Is that true? Robin Hood? Joe Miami. Andrew, my personal opinion that big firms are setting up a bigger trap for the hedgies by allowing them to currently borrow at such low rates. By doing so, they know retail will sell and they buy. This is my opinion. I hold. Aw, Joe Miami coming in. Thanks for the TA. A little bit of DD from your side. Good hypothesis. Now let's try to find some data. Come here. Come on. There you go. There you go. What a good boy. There he turns away from me. Beautiful boy. Let's see. Ivy Creek is looking like sideways to EOD upside. Yep. Okay. Let's take a look at what the markets are saying right now, because a little bit of the news we covered earlier today indicates that a lot of developments are coming around the corner. Wow, Unbiased has been here since January. Dang, you've been through almost all of it. Airlines. Interest rates won't increase until 2023. Oh. It says economist, but does it mean the economist like esteemed like publication, or does it mean like just a random economist? Like, man.
Yeah, you know, the PPI data here is certainly
Okay, let's take a look.
stronger than expected, stronger than the Fed would like. But as you mentioned yesterday, the consumer price data, while still firm and still a bit sticky and elevated, did show some moderation. And I think that is really the key. And it gets back to, you know, the pass-through, right? As Steve mentioned, companies may be paying higher input prices, but can they pass it on to consumers, and to what degree and for how long? So we'll have to wait and see. And in terms of the transmission, that was a great question earlier about the pass-through from PPI to CPI. But I looked at the data. Actually, it's been moving in tandem month to month. So there's not much of a lead time from PPI to CPI. So I think we have to wait and see. But our view is we've probably reached the peak in inflation, but it's going to remain elevated and sticky.
All right, so transitory then is still in the cards, because that's what the Fed needs it to be for its credibility, certainly to be intact, but also for its policy mechanism to really be what it expects it to be.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that is the operative word, transitory, and how long is transitory. But there are evidence that the Fed is correct in that a lot of this is being generated by the reopening and broader reopening of the economy. And also we have these supply chain disruptions. If they gradually get worked out, that should take some pressure off of inflation. But again, it's still going to remain high and higher than we're used to. The last decade, we struggled to get inflation at 2%. Now it's probably going to remain above the 2% pace for the next couple of years at least.
When do you think the taper is going to happen? Is October almost a formality at this point? And the timeline being, you get the speech in Jackson Hole, you have the meeting in September, and then you actually start the taper in October?
Well, I think many of us thought that at the Jackson Hole symposium they would announce the QE tapering, but maybe not commence until early next year. But then when they wrote in the meeting the statement that, or Powell talked about, he said it would take several meetings for them to really decide the QE logistics. Then it made it seem pushed out the time frame a little bit. So it may be that we get an announcement, a formal announcement at the September FOMC meeting. Remember, they'll have one more payroll report, and if you get another strong report, that'd be 3 strong reports, and that should give them enough confidence to announce that the QE tapering. And with inflation remaining elevated, it does keep pressure on them to take another step.
How are you thinking about the idea of what Steve Leisman has characterized as a more fractious Fed, that you can absolutely hear the more hawkish tone that some have said, or at least that some have come across with this week, including Kaplan, who Steve interviewed personally yesterday, but there have been other Fed speakers too, that would lead you to believe that maybe you have some fracture within the room, that maybe Powell, though he hasn't, he's led you to believe certainly that he's more dovish, nothing to make you believe otherwise, though some others have now been speaking out to the contrary.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a fracturing of the FOMC and moving out along the spectrum, the doves on one end and the hawks on the other. And I agree with you. I would put Powell more on the dovish side. I think that he and the core leaders, more towards the central of the spectrum. And I think what they're going to do is gradually, pivot towards less accommodation. And I do think
that's pretty crazy. So interest rates are exactly what the entire markets are waiting on right now. That's insane. Hey, I just put a exclusive drop. I've been teasing a Moo link for a very long time. I've already covered a couple of the reasons why that you should diversify the number of brokers that you have, but specifically getting 4 free stocks is a great reason, up to $3,300. Okay, so if you've already claimed your free stock on Webull, if you claimed your free stock on whatever broker, right? These young, scrappy, and hungry companies are looking to try and get you guys some free stocks so you might be able to leave some of your money there. But the smart thing is, just like credit cards, you can make a lot of money off of them as well. So if you want to be able to get your 4 free stocks as well as free level 2 data, that is currently pinned in the chat, and you can also find it in the description if I add it. Here we go. Okay, hold on a sec. Put it right there. Four free stocks and a level 2 data. That's pretty fire. There it is. Let's see now. Professor Meatball side-eye dog thought. Glad I got that haircut and cleaned my paws. Oh, he really does have these dog thoughts. They just come and go. Like, yeah. I am a dog. Good point, good point. Oh man, okay, let's take a look. Circle CEO, why Bitcoin could hit 100K? People love these overly bullish predictions, even though time and time again it's been proven that it hasn't happened yet. What's up, Meatball, says Lupe. Okay, let's see why Bitcoin could hit 100K.
Yeah, I think that the market has some real positive momentum going forward. You have loads of liquidity in the market. You have savings levels at all-time highs. You have companies issuing buybacks at all-time highs.
Oh, one sec.
Free cash flows are high. Forward earnings multiples look really good. 7 and 9% increase, which looks a lot better than 130, 135 on a 10-year. So I think that equities are the place to be. Earnings are hot and worrying. The market hasn't exactly rewarded it, but I think that with the volatility that we're seeing here and there, we see that throughout the year, but we also see continued growth, and we finish the year high.
How are you thinking about the Fed? I think the tone of the Fed this week has been a little more hawkish. Certainly speaker after speaker, at least in the last few days, seems to be priming the wheel here for a taper, maybe sooner rather than later. Does that matter to you and your forecast at all?
It really doesn't for this year and probably doesn't for next year either. I suspect that the Fed might announce, when they're going to taper in September. And I think that would be sort of step one before we get to rates. So I do think that we have some time on this. And, don't forget, they're still monitoring inflation. They're still monitoring what happens with the variant. We're in this situation now where businesses are suffering a little bit, particularly in the service sector because of that. We may or may not get kids back to school, and that'll impact the jobs number. So I think that there are still a lot of factors. I can't imagine that they would just sort of throw their hands up and give up now and sort of set us back. So I think we have time on that. And I do think that once we see a taper and once we see rate hikes, that's going to be slow and steady and supportive of the economy going forward.
About growth versus cyclical stocks? Are you leaning one way over the other in a week, frankly, where we've...
Speaking of which, the crypto dips have returned to 10%, 4%, 6% respectively. Doge, Bitcoin, Ethereum.
It's just set up perfectly for a lot of things to go up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think diversified portfolios are the way to go now, and I think you have to think about it in sort of two ways. Short term, the names that have been beat up the most.
Good morning, Patrick.
The reopen trade, the casinos, the hotels, the airlines, they're well off of 52-week highs. The variant just put another wrench in that. So those are my 1 to 2 year trades. And the longer term outlook would be things like 5G, looking at the fourth industrial revolution, machine learning, big data collection, and hydrogen. The infrastructure bill.
Did you just say every single possible buzzword? Are we ever going to have shower fest, says John? Haven't bathed since the announcement. People are starting to notice. People are starting to notice how cool shower fest is going to be. Exactly.
Passed. We have the clean hydrogen bipartisan bill that we're talking about passing, which is supposed to basically research and fund clean hydrogen.
AMC is on its way up to a potential new high. Its high was at 32.54. It's about 20 cents underneath that and currently ripping.
And then, of course, growth in big tech. I just don't think that those trades are over. They're just cash laden. Again, they're moving into the future, into cloud, machine learning, AI. And I just think that there's so much opportunity there. And we have to think about, what is the new tech of the future and sort of pipe down and have that be the next, 5-year long trade.
Pipe down there.
You also like crypto, Sylvia, and I'm curious, why now? We've seen some pretty rocky trading since earlier this year. And one reason that you cited to our producers is Tesla's quote unquote investment in crypto, which is really not an investment. They have it on their balance sheet. It's not an investment in that they don't participate to the upside on crypto. So in that sense, they're not betting on the direction of crypto. So I'm curious what the justification is for putting it into a portfolio.
Yeah, so I've been bullish on crypto for quite some time. I think that eventually it will pick up usage. And, to the Tesla point, I think the initial use case for crypto.
It sucks because she's prepared her statements and everything, and she's really going to speak intelligently about it. But at this point, Bitcoin was already falling 45,600 earlier. Now it's at 44,000, 3,000. Already lost 300, already lost $1,000.
So what is to purchase Teslas, and we know that's sort of on hold until we figure out how to make it more green, which is in the works. And I think that once Elon Musk gets to a point where he's sort of comfortable with that, he'll look to accept it again. MicroStrategy has it on the balance sheet. AMC is going to accept crypto. I think that the rumor that was swirling around Amazon turned out to not be true, but the response was certainly not no, never. It was it's on our minds. But I also think that there's a slew of ETFs that have been filed for. It looks like there's at least an open discussion about perhaps allowing futures-based products to be listed. That means market makers are going to use the underlying cryptocurrency to hedge their positions. It's going to tick up the volume there. And I think regulations, if they're sort of reasonable and look like stock type regulations, I think that it'll open up the marketplace for this, open up retirement plans. And I just think that there's so much demand and interest there that it's not going away. I'm very bullish on the price of crypto going forward.
I mean, even Lionel Messi is getting paid part of his PSG salary in crypto.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't like crypto. You love crypto. You say you're.
You don't just like crypto.
You've never been more bullish, right? And you see 100. You see 100,000, not that far off.
I think it's reasonable. If we look at the most recent price surge, it just goes to show you what happens where you get a little bit of news that there might be this new usage of crypto, perhaps in 1940 Act funds, mutual funds coming out with crypto, and that regulation is being looked at, and maybe it won't be as bad as we thought. I think the world wants to use crypto. I think that there's something like 20% of accounts now hold crypto. If you look at the Coinbase earnings, they beat that 60 million new user number, and mainly off of crypto trading. I just think that the demand is there, and I think that it's going to be a usable asset class. Not all crypto. I'm sort of most bullish on things like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Ether. I think NFTs are going to soar just because there's so much interest in digital art now, and that sort of way of going about ownership of assets. But I do think that there's just a huge use case for this going forward.
We'll see. Sylvia, thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it very much. It's Sylvia Jablonski.
Thanks.
Okay, all right. So that's crypto moving its way up in yesterday, at least, and then coming back down to some reasonable levels, but definitely still holding a lot of the gains from the recent rally for the last few days. Crypto is a good way to be able to lose or gain a lot of money. It depends on if you can fully reel from a potential bullish trap or some dead cat bounces, because at the end of the day, I'm assuming that crypto is going to be able to bounce off of this dip, but whether or not that's going to be a dead cat is going to have to be seen in the next few days. Let's see. This is really funny because I had some friends talking to me about Dogecoin yesterday. You know who you are if you're listening right now. That's really funny. That's funny. Apple's child safety measurements. Okay, hold on a second. So we had Say Technologies yesterday. Retail investors should focus on the future of AMC. Ooh, okay. This is a video from yesterday that we didn't get to see. And
Rajan, help us out here. Where do you sit on this side of the debate? Is AMC a growth company? Is it a tech company? Or is this just getting, too inflated from the fundamentals?
Yep, that question, is it a tech company, has certainly been the question around any kind of growth story over the last few years. But I think it is worth stopping and looking at what is happening to the fundamental business, because hype aside, certainly market capitalization aside, it looks like a business that's coming out of, an exogenous shock that's doing kind of well. 22 million tickets sold. Food and beverage per patron is up 44% versus 2019, which is a good sign. And they're doing kind of creative things. Again, it's not a technology play, but streaming UFC fights on a Saturday night and charging $25 per ticket, that shows they understand their customer, and that shows that at least they can try new movie things. They have a new deal with Warner Brothers where they're going to have 45 days exclusivity, which is a classic movie business thing. So they are turning around the movie business itself. But I agree, accepting cryptocurrency, it does not make you a technology company, but what it does do is show Adam Aaron knows the Elon Musk school of search engine optimization. He knows what to say. He knows how to drive the conversation away from fundamentals and get every headline talking about cryptocurrency.
It's true. He's really good about that.
Right. So how do you think then that retail investors should be taking this with a grain of salt? Do you think that these are promises that he can actually deliver on?
I think if the movie business does turn around, the Jungle Cruise and Suicide Squad, the poor performances, were they bad movies, or is that just larger
Did Suicide Squad
sign about where the industry is going?
Suicide Squad not have good box office? It was a rated R movie though, so that's fair.
AMC has, what is it, $2 billion in cash. They have that firepower and war chest to try to do something. If anyone's going to do it versus a Regal, a Cinemark, or IMAX, or anyone, they are in position. But again, Bitcoin, it's a distraction. We should be talking about, when you're a retail investor, you're thinking about this, it should be whatever the future of movies is. Could it be AMC? And to be honest, I would rather it be AMC than Amazon takes over every single movie theater and it becomes part of your Prime membership.
There you go.
Maybe a company that has known movies for a century could take us to that future of movies. But I will agree with John, they have not shown a very clear path to get us there.
And don't get me wrong, Ranja, I love going to movie theaters. As a matter of fact, I love the premium movie theaters, the AMC type movie theaters. They give me a cushy seat that reclines and a really nice screen, the Dolby surround sound, all that stuff. If I want to go out and see it, I want it to be really nice. So as a consumer, I'm rooting for that experience, and we'll see where the valuation in AMC sort of shakes out. But I think we're talking about something also that perhaps investors should zero in on. I remember the .com and how everybody was sort of using the internet as that began to rise as a connection to their business and why their valuation should be high, whether it was a real connection or not. How much do you see that happening with a variety of things, whether it's crypto or cloud, which has become almost meaningless in a lot of cases, or other buzzwords these days that perhaps tend to have an impact on sentiment and stock prices, but maybe not the fundamentals?
I think that is the single most important question, John, because there's been so much innovation and transformation over the last few years that it becomes easy for a company to just stick it into whatever their public statement is and try to kind of ascribe themselves to that kind of valuation. If you remember Blockchain, the Long Island iced tea blockchain company from a few years ago that, went ballistic.
That was true.
And, it saw their stock price go up just by putting blockchain in their name. But I think this is a really important point, is for the past few years, as a CEO, you could say anything. As a company, there was no real check against what you are saying in the public sphere. And we've talked about this here before. In the entire investor relations side, are there controls over what you can publicly say? And I think the SEC, the entire financial regulatory system, is starting to show that they're not going to play fast and loose anymore. On the cryptocurrency side, you see it, over the last week, how much has happened, how aggressively things have been pushed. That fast and loose environment of the last 5 years, I do believe it's over. And I think how liberal we can be with the crypto CEO just saying crypto, blockchain, cloud, I think is going to change, and people have to back these things up.
So the end of the day right now, there are people trying to create headlines where perhaps there are fewer notable
you wrote this morning that traders
articles
remain
that actually exist. So at the end of the day, it ends up being, well, when people try to stuff a article or a video with as many keywords as possible, at the end of the day, does this fundamentally change the market structure, and what rules of the fundamentals does still apply? Unknown says Black Adam is going to be too good. Is going to be a great movie. There we go. Birds of Prey didn't do too great. I'm talking about Birds of Prey. I'm talking about Suicide Squad. Because of HBO showing at the same time. That's the thing. That's why Warner Brothers' partnership with AMC is so big. That's why it's so humongo. Looks like New York has an incoming governor, who has to then go and get reelected next year anyway. I think, right? Elections are coming up. Weekly initial jobless claims down 12,000 to 375. That's what's important. That's what's really ending up the bare bones of a healthy market. All right, AMC goes back to 32, 38. Still not the daily high. We're still 20 cents away, but this is great. Some news is good news. Man. Okay. And that's what's fun about this. Here we go. Let's see. Get it to 1K, says Don Roberto. How does this video only have 837 likes? That's true. People are not paying attention to the math. It's one of the things. It's kind of like not getting your 4 free stock right now. I can see from my side how many people have already signed up. A ton. So if you guys wanted your 4 free stocks from Moo, it is currently a great way to get your level 2 data as well as diversify your brokers. All right, so that 4 free stock is waiting for you up to $3,300, and that's just free. Right? You don't have to use them as a broker. It's just free money in your account. I think that's a pretty good deal. If you wanted to save some money on like eating out today, how about just get some free stock instead? I think that's a perfectly good choice. And then you can eat out some Red Lobster, you can eat out your Applebee's, eat your Cheesecake Factory. It's a good trade-off. Tom says, get it to 10,000. What is this, the like for ants? Oh man, why Wyoming is going to be the next crypto state? I mean, that's pretty fun actually. That's a good headline. I wonder why Wyoming.
Here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, this is the state's capital. It's also looking to become the crypto capital of the United States. And one of the big reasons a lot of these tech companies have been moving here, friendly regulation. The state has passed more than 24 bills related to blockchain. The biggest one so far is aimed at quick approval for new crypto banks.
Huh. Okay.
What Wyoming did was just create a welcoming legal environment, just clarifying that this industry is lawful and does exist in a recognized manner. Most of the crypto industry in other states is just in a legal and regulatory gray area.
On top of that regulatory environment, guys, there's no personal income tax here. Wyoming also has abundant and cheap energy sources, and that is key for those crypto mining companies. And it turns out the internet speed here is pretty good as well. Some of the country's largest data centers, including Microsoft, are in Cheyenne. Wyoming's Senator Cynthia Lummis, meanwhile, was among those fighting for a crypto amendment in the recent infrastructure bill. She says the state is bringing in more revenue and tech jobs thanks to crypto, and she says it could be a sandbox for action in D.C.
Okay.
There's been a long delay in getting action, and we're trying to encourage the Fed to move it along. So these
free advertising for Wyoming. If the senator is inside, you know this was advertising for Wyoming.
Companies are not burning through their capital trying to get a charter. They can actually begin to conduct business.
Wyoming has a history of pioneering new laws. It was the first to have LLCs. It was also the first state to allow women the right to vote. But other states are following pretty quickly. We've got Texas, Nebraska, North Dakota, Illinois, all passing their own crypto-friendly bills recently. And guys, companies like Kraken and Avanti, a couple tech companies we've talked to that moved out here, say that competition between the states is really a good thing. It puts pressure on some other states to innovate and possibly the federal government at some point. For now, though, they say Wyoming has enough of an edge. They don't plan on moving anytime soon. Back to you.
Okay.
Kate, just how important is it? I mean, you touched on it a little bit, but the energy piece of this puzzle, whether it's hydropower or some of the other potential alternative energy sources that Wyoming is sitting on as well, I guess how many crypto miners are potentially flocking to the state because of that? And is that something from an infrastructure standpoint that the state is looking to build out as well?
It's really important. And if you look at states like Texas, that has sort of been what they're competing on as China shuts down a lot of the miners there. You have miners abroad looking to relocate to the U.S., looking for that as the main thing, cheap and abundant energy sources, and then crypto-friendly regulation. So Texas and Wyoming seem to be going head-to-head, at least when it comes to crypto mining. They've already got the infrastructure for oil and gas and that whole industry. They're looking to sort of diversify into crypto. Regulation is the other big one. There's some crypto banks moving here. Those are the two biggest industries we're seeing, though. Cryptocurrency, digital asset banks, and those miners moving here.
Okay, so some fun advertising for Wyoming there, but it's true. People are looking at different avenues to be able to find crypto havens as crypto fever starts to pick up once again. All right, interesting stuff. I'd like to be able to drive it in here. Dow hits record high. So that is another record breaker for the day. Dow hits the high, then dips lower. Why did that happen?
Sonny, hey Bob. Hello guys. We are essentially at new highs, and I know it seems quiet out there, but actually there's a lot going on, a lot of percolation and rotation going on beneath the surface. Just take a look at the sectors right now. Banks have had a very good week overall. They're the market leaders, trending up really since the jobs report as interest rates have trended up. Materials are having a good week overall. There is some legs in that infrastructure trade, even though most of it happened earlier in the year. Industrial is also doing well. Tech has been lagging because interest rates are a little higher. I'll show you that in a minute. Right now, everybody everybody's talking about just two things. One is the variant and the impacts, and the other is interest rates. So right now, the market is still acting like we are going to go towards peak variant, as people like to call it, in the next several weeks. Who knows if that's the case, but the market's acting like that. As for interest rates, they're trending higher here, and as a result, some things are changing. We're continue to see strong momentum in home improvement, in banks, industrials, in materials, and some downward momentum in the consumer staples names. I would say tech is stable to slightly to the downside. Let me just show you what I mean, put some flesh on the bones here. Consumer stocks here, big momentum in Costco and Sherwin-Williams still, and Nike, Walmart, one of the few consumer staples names that's really been doing well, but that's the exception in the consumer staples group. Financials are doing well because interest rates are rising. We're seeing some funds doing well, actually. T. Rowe Price has been doing great recently. That's one of the leaders in low-cost, no-load funds doing well. NASDAQ has been doing really well recently. And, of course, you mentioned the banks, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, also having a nice quarter. This is on the quarter so far. The big industrial and material names, Nucor and Dover, Textron and Deere, they've been having a great time. And who knew there was legs left in that infrastructure trade? Surprisingly, Martin Marietta and Vulcan have moved up in the last couple of weeks. A lot of people thought that play was exhausted, but there's still some legs left in that infrastructure play. What we're seeing downward momentum in the last couple of weeks is in consumer names. So the liquor companies are not doing too great. Constellation, Brown-Forman.
Liquor companies. 800-pound ape says, "Where's my short attack discount, Kenny G?" Whoa. Now we're bullfighters.
Kraft Heinz, Clorox, Campbell Soup, all looking considerably softer. Perhaps no surprise there as the economy tends to reopen. These stocks, this makes some sense as a play, have been waiting for quite some time. The big debate is around tech. Tech is sensitive to higher interest rates. So it's been either side, and I'm talking the last several weeks to see how this plays out, since really the jobs report came out. So PayPal, Intel, NVIDIA, Broadcom, Microsoft, the super mega caps have been a bit stronger, Microsoft and Apple, for example, but either side of positive or negative. Let's say that debate is not yet over again. I think the key here, Carl, is higher rates have basically helped the market look through the whole Delta variant story, and that's been a major story. On the Delta variant, still slowing, not derailing the recovery. And the key question is, what exactly do you mean by slowing? You can change behavior without going through lockdowns, and that's what we're debating right now. How much are we changing behavior? Carl, back.
Okay, there it is. So that's the thing right here. Behaviors are changing. There are significant differences in the brokers that were originally offered and then now doesn't want to give you back as much as the new, younger, and scrappier companies here. So right before we finish up a little bit early on the day, we'll be back tomorrow, guys. I'm going to give you one more shout out to the fact that you could get some free stock. Here's from the Moo Marketing themselves. Get up to $3,300 in your free stock, right? There's a 1 in 100 chance of getting one of these stocks right here. So that is actually fairly good compared to Webull. So get 4 of these with the link pinned into the chat, also in the description, is the first one. And just kind of like steal their free stock. Kind of like just take it from them, right? Take that up to $3,300 and then go and get a nice dinner somewhere. Aw, Jason Tantia says, my man, long time no chat. Hope all is well. You have calls expiring tomorrow. I can't comment on your calls. I can't. I'm sorry. That's financial advice. But what I can do is say thank you, those of you who have pressed that subscribe and that join button and the Patreon link. Those of you who are executive producers of the show really do make this show possible. We'll be back tomorrow or bright and early. We'll be doing a full 2 hours. We'll be doing a whole day's worth of trading just between you and me. But for 2 hours. So hope you guys enjoyed this show. Get your 20% off of Lux algorithm. I just put out a new tutorial on how to set up the new V4.0 to look for short squeezes and other data points here. We looked at Ortex earlier. I'll show you one more time that 19% short interest. Important to remember that short interest is going to continue fluctuating and gives us one of the best understandings of where that stock is going. So plus 3.18%, that means 19% short interest for AMC is what is currently being defined. Hey, thank you guys for chilling with us. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow for now, but not for forever. See you guys in the money. Peace. Big peace. Peace-a-roni. Big piece with cheese. See you guys.